Hello, you're listening to a TEN7 Audiocast. We're here today for a team member interview with Tess Flynn, our DevOps engineer. I'm Ivan Stegic, founder and president of TEN7. Hello, Tess.
Hello.
When did you start at TEN7 and what were you doing prior to joining us?
I was working for FFW and I was laid off. So I was looking for something to pick up real quick because that did not happen at a good moment for me financially. And you were looking for someone to help redo your deployment strategy. And I thought, wow, that sounds like it would be lots of fun. I'll go do that. Did that for the next 3 months as a freelancer. The last two jobs that I worked at, they were larger organizations by the time I left. They both had the same inherent problem, which is that when you work for them, you're given a job title and that is what you do. You don't really break out of that job title and do anything more interesting or more different unless if extraordinary circumstances arise. And most of the time, that just doesn't happen in these larger organizations. The idea of just continuing on with TEN7 was very appealing because this is an organization which is small enough that everyone has to do a little bit of everything. Which means that if you have an interesting idea or a slightly off-kilter idea that sounds a little bit too, well, we could try it and see where it goes, you'll be more likely to get more buy-in. And I've definitely seen that in my tenure here so far, as we've completely redone all of the deployment strategies to a completely automated nature using our own open source stuff. We now have our own automated multi-tier backup system, which is also all open source. That's a lot of things that we've created in the last few months that I wouldn't have had the opportunity to do at other organizations.
Why did you accept the offer?
I was actually talking to a former coworker of mine about this just the other day. He received a survey question that asked, when were you happiest at work? Both of us kind of looked at that question. Yeah, I was happiest back then when we were working for a smaller company because you always got to do more stuff. That was something that I really found appealing, and I realized that I had this now. Plus, I really needed health insurance.
Your job description is DevOps engineer. Why don't you tell us what you really do at TEN7 and what does your daily routine look like?
The first thing that I usually do is I check my email, I check Slack, and I usually check our operations channel because we have a monitoring system that will report any site outages on the operations channel. If there are outages, the first thing that I do is I drop everything and I go check that. And if there's nothing that immediately pressing, then I'll usually go on to check my email because usually at that point, some issue that is operations related will get down to me. If nothing actually is in my email that I have to deal with that immediately, then usually I'll start going to the issue queue and see if I can pick up any client work or project work, internal project work that we need to do.
And what's your favorite part of the day, do you think?
It really comes down to the bookends of the day. Because I actually like that period that's between 8 and 9:30 because it's usually quiet enough that no one's really working on pressing issues unless if something's on fire, so that you can sit and focus on your day going off to a nice rolling start rather than a panicked jog.
We don't like panic.
And then, of course, towards the end of the day, around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, things are starting to wind down a little bit. People are, kind of selecting the last issue they're going to be working on the day. The systems are still up and still running. So you have a lot less interruption, a lot less concerns, and you can spend a lot more time just focusing on getting stuff done and then closing your day out.
I had never thought about having two different parts of the day that are my favorite. I love that. Well, thank you so much for your time, Tess. That brings us to the end of this audio cast. I'd like to thank you once again for sharing today. Please visit us at TEN7.com and keep an eye out on the TEN7 blog for future audio casts. This is Ivan Stegic. Thank you for listening.